Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother Roundtable podcast here at RHAP. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and this is the podcast where we talk about everything from the feeds and we rate the players based on how well we think they are doing in the game. And oh boy, I think we need to dub this one the Red Stockwatch because it's about to be a bloodbath. And with me, as always, is Melissa. How you doing, Melissa?
Coming to you live from my parents' bedroom. It's Melissa. Yeah, so I'm sure my parents are loving that I'm in front of their semi-made bed, but I had to come on because this week is literally insane. I feel like it was that meme picture that's like, we're so back, oh, it's over, we're so back, it's over. So yeah, it's been a wild ride.
A wild ride indeed. And with us to talk about the wild ride as well is Mari. How you doing, Mari?
Hi, I'm here for Black Monday, the great BB27 stock market crash of 2025. I am here, as I always am, to tank your faves and everybody else in that house. Because man, oh man, this is unhinged behavior, just outrageous. I because I was traveling on Sunday, I didn't get a chance to watch the HOH episode, so I went back and I watched it today, and I was like crying at how good the episode was and how much promise the week started out with to like where we're at now. And I'm just upset. I'm just upset because my fans are getting tanked too, y'all. They're all going down. It's all going down. We're all losing money today. So
everyone's going down together. And that is because if you have not been paying attention, we did see in the episode that despite Riley winning the HOH, Mickey was able to steal it out from under his nose by tricking him into thinking that Ashley had the power and thus became the HOH. And at this point, I'm actually starting to think that her being nominated on a Riley HOH would have been better for her game because she nominated Keanu, Kelly, and Riley, the dethroned HOH, with the intention of evicting Keanu. Even prayed for it to happen, that he wouldn't win the veto. Unfortunately for her, he did win the veto. And when talking to her and Morgan afterward, sort of helped unleash the fury that they've been holding for Jimmy ever since his HOH week, where he made a massive mistake. And this led them down a devious and dangerous path, one that has led to Mickey nominating Jimmy as the replacement nominee for Keanu and her new target for the week, having befriended and newly aligned herself with Riley and Catherine, despite still telling Riley to his face today after the veto ceremony that she doesn't trust Catherine, just Riley, which I'm sure Riley loves. And so here we are. Jimmy has been backdoored, blindsided, and will likely be sent home if he does not win the blockbuster. And Mickey has managed to find one of the few people in the game that was actually like in her corner to remove from the house.
Yeah. So it has been three terrible HOHs back to back. I would also say 4, but I guess hindsight is 2020. It's still been 4 bad HOHs, but these last 3 have been particularly terrible. And it's just the fact that everybody's bad decisions haven't been coming back around to them until this week, where Jimmy's bad decisions from week 2 came back around to him. But unfortunately, the person who is who is giving him that punishment should not be the person who should be doling out that punishment to him. So it is now her bad decision that she will more than likely pay for in the future. And I blame Vince for all of this. I blame it on Vince. He set the house culture for being a snivelly HOH, to ruffle any feathers. We say it all the time. It's all about the house culture and what that first HOH sets the tone, and even the second HOH to a degree. But and so this is Jimmy's fault too. But it's just like everybody has just been so like scared to rock the boat, so afraid to draw a line in the sand that they keep accidentally drawing lines in the sand, and it is always worse for them than if they had intentionally done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even after Mickey puts up Jimmy here, she's like, yeah, the line's been drawn. You know, we picked a side. She's like, I never thought I would be the girl to do it, but here I am. I'm like, yeah, but girl, you kind of made the line like on your side. You got less. You should have been more. And so it's been that. It's like everybody has been so afraid to really make a move that the person who is making a move is making a quote unquote big move that just does not help her game. So it's been very interesting watching all of this take place. And it's just like, you're like, okay, well, Mickey is immediately gonna feel the ramifications of this. And to be quite honest, the way this season is going, I don't know if she will, because Riley might win HOH next week and be like, oh no, Mickey's cool. You know, she helped me last week. Like, that is how this is going, y'all. Like, nobody is especially if we still have Keanu to deal with, God forbid if we still have Kelly to deal with. Like, it's just an endless cycle. And I need us to get off of it. Sadly, if one of my faves need to go home for everybody to like wake up, that might need to happen.
Mari, I think you're missing the 4D chess move that Vince made at the start of this season, because he's so self-aware. Remember, he knew how bad he was at the strategic portion of the game. So what he did was intentionally made a really bad move as the first HOH to set the tone so that other HOHs would also make bad moves, making everyone just as bad as him strategically so that his superior social game could carry the day.
I agree.
It just feels like this Jimmy move came out of nowhere to me. Like, I feel like it maybe because like it doesn't make sense, but maybe it's been like, you know, marinating with Mickey for a while. I don't know, but like it just, to me, like, I mean, to everyone, it seems so wrong and so like such a wrong read of the situation. And it's like, yeah, sure, Jimmy's like doing a lot, and telling people things and telling people other things, but like ultimately he's doing that
so is everyone
to your benefit. Why are you trying to get that out? It's like, who cares about that? I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but he lied or something. And it's like,
it's very Adrian.
Yeah, it's Big Brother. Like, who cares? Like, I don't know. It just feels very strange that like that's what they're upset about. It wasn't like, oh, like he tried to target, like we found out that he actually was targeting Mickey and that he's anti-Mickey this whole time. Like, that to me would make sense. But like this whole like, oh, he's just talking to so many people. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, duh. You're playing a game.
It's a mixture of, I'm sorry, Taran. But I just want to say it's about playing scared, right? Like, it feels like every HOH has been playing scared. They've been caving to what the house wants and trying to get in good with everybody. Like, Vince did it by putting up Kelly because she you know, in that third spot when he had to. Like, Jimmy did it by caving and putting up Amy because he's like, I didn't want to piss off the rest of the house. And essentially you're putting up an ally that you know that if they stay, they have no recourse but to still work with you. And it's exactly what Lauren did last week. Instead of making a big bold move and putting up Ashley, she caves, puts up Adrian goes. And to me, this is what Mickey did. She's playing scared. She didn't want to put up Catherine because she didn't want Riley to get mad. She thinks she's good with Riley now. She looked at the game board and said, Jimmy is the only person I could put up because, again, Jimmy's up there, he's mad, and so far as he's campaigning for votes, he's like, I'm still good with Morgan and Nikki, I want to like redeem myself with them. He has to say that because right now he doesn't have anybody, you know what I'm saying? So like it's almost like I'll just put up my ally because I can kind of smooth it over with my ally than to actually shoot the first shot across the bow. And I want to escape my HOH as good with as many people as possible because everybody is telling me that Jimmy is doing this. And it's like, grow up, y'all. Grow up. It's a game. Let's do this. Like, sorry, Taran, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and I also think you have to be looking at like the people who are just like finally talking game with you when you're HOH, or just finally like, saying they want to work with you when you're HOH, versus the people who had been working with you from the start or before you had any sort of power, people who you had been like in game conversations with and had a game relationship, like all of a sudden being like, actually, like Riley is finally talking to me. I'm so happy about that. Okay, I guess he's like a good ally of mine or whatever. It's like all this stuff. You need to really look at like the way people treated you like before you got famous or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what really matters. It's just
listen,
strange.
that's easy to say until Brad Pitt walks up to you and starts giving you attention, Melissa.
Hey, Brad Pitt is a jerk. He's a horrible father and an abuser. So we can just throw that one out of
Yes, Melissa.
I would not be bothered if Brad Pitt came up to me. Actually, I'd be upset about it.
Oh boy. Yes. I just wanted to just bring something up, because I was listening to Mickey talk to Jimmy after the nomination, and he was, she was like interrogating him, and he was trying to be like, I don't know why you did this. I've been in your corner. I talked to Keanu. And they got into like, well, Keanu is coming after me, so on and so forth. She goes on to say to him, did it ever even cross your mind, Jimmy? Why didn't it cross your mind to tell Keanu that you were the problem, not us? And he said, why would I do that? And she said, because it's better for him to be coming after you, one person, than both of us, two people. And genuinely believes this and complained to Morgan, who then they both were like, obviously, that's great logic. He should be telling Keanu that he should be targeting him, Jimmy. Jimmy should tell Keanu to target himself because he's only one person and we're two people. And I about lost my mind.
Yeah, it was a lot of coping today. It was a lot of coping, especially from Mickey and Morgan. It was so cringe to watch. It truly was, like them trying to convince themselves that this is a great move. After she's talking to Jimmy, he's making all of these great points. Mickey conceded some of his points, but you could just see like the mental gymnastics. And this happens all the time in Big Brother. This isn't new, y'all. This happens all the time. Once you make a decision, even if it's bad, you have to talk yourself into why it's not. It reminds me of MJ putting up Leah last season. Like the worse
the decision is, the more people tend to convince themselves it was right.
Exactly. Like it's true human nature. Like we can sit here from our, couches and be like, I don't understand why this is happening. One, we have all the information, but two, it's different when you're actually in somebody's face. So like Mickey taking Riley's HOH, she then has to deal with an angry Riley. You know what I'm saying? And she can do one of two things. She can either bite back, make him the target, fight, go after him, like make it clear that that's her target, or she can smooth it over, try to convince herself that they can work together. It's a basic fight or flight, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't like that she chose that she would rather work with him. It's from the information deficit that she doesn't know that he was playing the game. I think what my thought process is, she thinks that, oh, he's now playing the game. He told her, he's like, you got me fired up. Thank you. Now we're going to play this game together, whatever. She doesn't know that he was playing the game and he was not on her side. So to her, he is woken up. He is now pledging his allegiance to her. And I Guess that man is more charming in person. I've just put that he is clearly more charming in person.
I think it's a demographics thing, if I'm being honest.
But what is the demographic?
Could be that privilege.
There are certain people that are more prone to the southern charms of somebody like Riley, and I think a lot of those people are in the house.
It just seems it's so bizarre to me. It's like, yeah, I totally agree, Mari. It's like there's got to be something that like we're not seeing, that like when you're having a one-on-one with him or something, that it just like, I don't know. Yeah. But for me, like I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I guess like I wouldn't be snowed by it. I don't know.
I don't think many people who watched the first 5 seconds of his preseason interviews were snowed by anything that Riley has ever said.
No,
it's just so strange. I just feel like it's like, I thought for sure, like when he was going to go in the house, that like no one would be that, like it wasn't like a charming thing. It was just like, okay, sure. And then everyone's just like into it. I don't know. It just seems very strange.
We know he has game. I mean, he has enough game to, procreate with people. So I think that's what it is.
I mean, I'm sure part of it too is that like, it's again, like in the absence of any gameplay on Big Brother, the person who is active, no matter how bad they are, succeeds for a while until somebody else shoots them down. We see this all the time. Paloma, Frenchie, even Angela to some degree before, she shot herself down. And maybe the same thing can be true of people who declare themselves to be really good people.
Exactly.
In the absence of good people in the house, because it's, you're all playing a game. So what is a good person? The guy that's like, I'm such a good person and I care deeply about Catherine, and I'm all about this and I'll do whatever it takes. And I'm out here to play the game. Like in the absence of anything else, you're just like, I guess he's a good person.
Exactly.
Perception no way. I don't know. I just like the way he's like pressuring her. And I just in relation to like pressuring with like to sleep in the same bed or like cuddle together or whatever, like the way that he goes about it is like, are you serious? Like, we're not, like, you're serious. Are you being serious right now that we're not going to cuddle? It's like, that is such a turn off to me. That is so like gross and weird. I would just be like, yeah, like I'm telling you, we're not going to cuddle right now. Like now I'm feeling like weird about it. Like, I don't know. It's just, all of it is too much. It's so overbearing it's icky. It's just like, it doesn't give me like, yeah, it's coercive. It doesn't give me like good vibes. It makes me feel really turned off and weird.
Yeah, exactly. They don't see that though. Like Taran says, they don't see that.
Like somebody saying, like Taran was saying, somebody saying they're a really good person. Like to me, that makes me think like automatically, like, I'm sure you're not a good person. Like a good person would not need to say that. A good person
has very little practice needing to talk about how they're a good person.
Right. I mean, like we initially said that like during the draft podcast about how it was like his whole intro was like a PR, like, cover up or something, like trying to get ahead of a story before it broke. Like that made me so like weirded out like right away. And to have him just sitting there constantly talking about how he's a good person, like what are you hiding? Like, what are you trying to make? Like, why are you telling me like so much that you're a good person? Like, it makes me think that like, there's something that I'm about to find out that like, I would know you weren't a good person if I found it out.
Right. Like, listen, if you hear anything, I swear I'm a really good person.
Just know right now.
No.
You agree, right? You agree. I'm a good person. That's so weird.
Don't let other people get in your ear. You know what I mean? Like
they're just lying to you. I'm telling you the truth right now. Weird.
So here we are, right? Like here we are in a scenario where Mickey, who was one of the leading strategic players in the game, had made some pretty big mistakes already, and we were getting a little worried about that. But she has now targeted Jimmy, and I know we've talked a lot about how bad the move is, but it's so bad because I've talked about this a little bit before, but I really want to illuminate it. That Jimmy, if you look at the house, the structure of the house, right? Who does Mickey have in the game? She Has Morgan, kind of. Their relationship has been a little rocky historically. But this week it's been better because they've been working together toward a common goal. But at the second that Mickey disagreed with Morgan, things got a little heated. And we also know that Morgan is much more loyal to Vince and Zach. She now, because she's made this move, she's got Vince and Zach a little bit, but not as much as Morgan does. And Morgan doesn't have them as much as Lauren does. And nobody has Vince at all. And so that's not that good. She's got, let's say, Riley and Catherine, even though she's telling Riley she doesn't trust Catherine, and Catherine basically has zero loyalty to Mickey at this point. She has Riley, who has promised his undying loyalty to her, but before that, he promised it to Catherine, and before that, he promised it to Lauren, and before that, he promised it to Ava, and before that, he promised it to Keanu, and before that, he promised it to Zach. And he's basically just promised it to everyone that he's ever talked to, and I don't have a lot of faith that he's going to be sticking to any particular thing. Then she has the actual core group that is her ideal, I would assume, final group of people to go to the end with. A phenomenal group of people to go to the end with. People that are loyal to her, people that she can beat in competitions, people that she can beat in the final two. We're talking about Will, Ashley, we're talking about Ava, Rachel, and these are like a very solid core group of people that she should want to protect at all costs. She has pissed all of them off. Just today, Ashley and Will were talking about how much they don't trust Mickey anymore because it's exactly the same scenario as what happened with Jimmy's HOH, where he pissed off his own allies to appease people like, and I say people like, but it's not people like, it's exactly the same people in Riley and Catherine. And now all of a sudden, Mickey has found herself afloat without a paddle. Her own allies aren't vibing with her anymore. And even if you said, well, what other choice do they have? That might be true, but now they're also kind of the next targets. If Keanu and Kelly aren't on the block, guess who almost everyone in the house will be putting on the block next week? It's Will, it's Ashley, it's Rachel. What do you do with that, Mickey? Where do you go in this game? The one person that Mickey actually did have was Jimmy. And Jimmy had a couple of other loyalties, but his primary loyalty seemed most to the triple threat. And I'm not going to make Jimmy out to be a perfect ally. He is far from that. His mistake as his HOH was really bad, and he deserves this punishment in the game for what he did. But that doesn't change the reality of the structure of this house. It doesn't change the fact that Jimmy has been an invaluable number for her, even just in the last week, pushing for Ashley to stay off the block, making sure that the votes didn't flip against Will, and also being a target in front of her that other people have to deal with. It's so unbelievably bad that she pointed out perhaps the most valuable person in the game to her game, aside from herself, and managed to target him. It is genuinely a terribly awful move. And with everything we've seen in the first 4 weeks of this game, I really feel like this might be the worst strategic cast I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is the worst strategic cast. I'm saying it right now, y'all. This cast overall is strategically bad. So let's not, when the winner is crowned, be it Vinny, be it Zach, because that's what it's looking like right now. Let's not make them out to be, Derek Levasseur, Dan, Will levels of anything. All of these people are bad. I have never, like, when people are like, oh, this cast is just not good, so-and-so runs circles. This cast, anybody can run circles around them with just a
I watched Big Brother 9 live. That cast would run circles around this one.
It's bad.
It's
Throw
so
a baller
bad.
in there.
Oh no.
Everybody is bad, y'all. Everybody. I don't care. Everybody.
I feel like even like the people who like are like maybe good are also just are making bad moves as well, or like not really doing much or whatever. Like maybe they'll like, I don't know. I feel like there's nobody that I'm looking at that I'm like, okay, that one's one to watch, except for maybe Zach, honestly. But even Zach, it's hard to say.
They're just not making the most current bad move. That's all it is. It's the people who are playing good right now just have not made the most recent bad mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I wasn't kidding on the update the other day. Like, it has genuinely made me consider, like, they are so bad that is it possible that the blockbuster is just exposing how bad they are, and that we wouldn't have known it otherwise, and that maybe other casts have the potential to be this bad, and we just never had the opportunity to see it. But here's the thing. That's hypothetical. And what's in front of me is that this is the worst set of decisions and strategic gameplay I have seen in 25 years of Big Brother.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing, because it's like you start out this season or whatever, and you're just like, I'm so excited to see where these house guests take it, and like who's gonna be the next big strategist, and like what are they gonna do? What are they gonna work together? And then it's like, it's just so disappointing when you like, I don't know. It's like now what? Like now it's like, okay, we can just hope for like a mid-tier like strategic season. I don't know. Like at best.
I do want to say the cast has been entertaining me though. I like, they're bad strategically, but Ashley is hilariously unintentionally. Keanu is hilarious unintentionally. And Rachel is giving me what I need. She is just being all of the things. Bad at fighting, dressing up, going toe to toe with Jimmy, sticking up for Ashley to Kat. I will say, at least I'm not bored. Like, they are making bad strategic decisions, but at least I am not bored. And I actually kind of analogously like everybody, minus like 2 people. And I think that's kind of the frustrating part. Like, I actually really do like a good portion of this cast. It's just very frustrating where we're just seeing nobody like taking the reins of this game and really trying to, push something, anything.
Yeah, like,
Look at
I
us,
guess
begging for structure.
I'd prefer to see this than to see like Big Brother 19. Like,
Right.
to me, at least
Exactly,
this can be
Melissa.
like fun. And there are fun things to it, versus like Big Brother 19 felt like painful to watch. So like I was more like upset because of the bullying and like the meanness of it. And so to me, like, just having bad strategy is like, I'd prefer good strategy, obviously, but there still can be fun to it. As long as it's done in like good spirits and good faith, and not like, just like harmful and mean.
It's speaking of Rachel, it's very funny for me to watch her in the game, because it's kind of like she's a wall yeller, but inside the house as a player, because she's just like, stop trusting Vince. Vince is a liar. Vince has a final 2 with everyone. And they're like, what's that noise?
Get out of here. I was like, we don't care. We don't care.
Oh, we're not allowed to listen to this, actually. Oh, unfair.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the noms are boring. Like, keep putting up the same people, but I'm having fun. Like, like Melissa said, nobody is outright, bad so far. So it's been interesting, but I'm poor Kelly. I need her gone, so that at least that opens up another spot on the block. Like, another Kelly Keanu, I just can't. And before we get to the statistics, can I just say one thing too? Like, another thing that this cast has been doing is they've been taking the easy route on the initial noms, which is making the second noms harder than they should be. You know what I'm saying? So like if Mickey had initially gone with her first gut and backdoor Keanu and did Riley, Catherine, and Kelly, or did Riley, Catherine, Keanu, she wouldn't be in the spot she would be with Jimmy, because if Keanu comes down when Riley and Kat are up, then she would have just thrown up Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Like they're actually, and Jimmy did the same thing when he had Keanu and Kelly up there, and he put Adrian
There's
up
the same
initially.
thing with Lauren, where if she had just nominated Ashley initially, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal because it wouldn't have been a replacement. It would have been a pawn situation. And then Ashley's stuck up on the block now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just that they're playing the blockbuster incorrectly. Shocker. Like,
yeah, and I've definitely seen some discourse, and we've talked about it as well. Like, obviously, the blockbuster seems to further encourage this kind of gameplay. The thing is that it's not actually incentivizing this. Like, this isn't the correct way to play the blockbuster. It's just the way that people have been playing it so far. Exactly. We just need someone to go in there and do it right and set the standard for how it's supposed to, because like this is not the true incentive for this twist. That doesn't make it that doesn't excuse it. Like it's definitely not doing, I think, what they would want it to do entirely. But I don't think the flaw is in the design of the twist, in the way that many of the twists encourage the gameplay that end up stemming from them, whereas this one like truly incentivize it, whereas this one is just like, it's just scary. It's just scary. And they cast a bunch of really, really scared players. And so that's the bigger problem.
And to date, Taran, I think you said this, to date, the only person who still has correctly done the blockbuster is Tucker. He put up 3 people that he wanted out that were big targets. It's like, still.
That's what Tucker did right. Yeah. And we have a house full of Tucker fans that only remember the volunteering for the block and not the nominating 3 of your enemies.
Which we all were like, don't volunteer for the block. What are you doing? Like, that wasn't a good move. Like, that was like the worst thing that he kept doing. It was like, oh, stop. Ugh, that's so annoying.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about the survey?
Yes. Because I have no idea what this is finna look like, Taran.
Well, we got what looks to be almost double the normal responses. So.
Oh boy.
Oh, y'all had something to say, huh?
Yeah, you're like, let me just.
Oh, this is gonna get negative real quick.
All right, favorite players. I asked the audience to rank the players from their favorite to the least favorite. Who do we think is their least favorite player?
Riley.
Yes, still Riley.
It is still Riley. It has never not been Riley, even from week 1. Although week 2 was very close. Riley almost was beat for that spot by Keanu. Who is the favorite?
Ava.
It is still Ava after having taken that spot from Rachel in week 2. Rachel held the spot for 1 week and now is still in second place. Who do we think is third place, though? Because last week, third place was Mickey.
Maybe Ashley or Will.
Zach.
Maybe
Melissa,
Ashley?
It is Ashley and then Will.
Nice.
Shout out to Ashley. This is.
And then what is it, Jimmy?
A huge comeback.
And then it is Jimmy, Melissa.
See, the audience still loves that side of the house. And that's why we were so excited when Mickey took. It could have been so great.
Ashley in week 2 was 5th to last. It was Ashley, Amy, Kelly, Keanu, Riley. In just 2 weeks, she is now 3rd place.
Good for her.
It's so, because she's so hilarious. Like, she's so hilariously oblivious. The things she be saying to people, she just like pissed Riley and Catherine off last night on accident. Like,
Okay.
Why are you talking to her?
It's just so good. And you know what? I actually for HOH because I think she might literally be the only person that'll put up the people that don't like her.
Listen, I don't trust anyone in this.
I know at this point, right?
No faith in anybody.
All right. So yeah, top 5: Ava, Rachel, Ashley, Will, Jimmy. Can we get who do we think the bottom 3 are? We know Riley's at the bottom. Who are the other 2?
I think above Riley is Kat.
Melissa. I'm sorry, Mari, but she keeps nailing
Voice
it.
of the people. Voice of the people.
Man.
All right, Melissa, I don't think you've been wrong yet, so I'm very curious to know if you can get the rest. Who's third to last?
Okay, this is hard, but I think maybe, honestly, like maybe it's either like Morgan or Kelly. Like I don't really know. This one's tough.
I think Mickey may have dropped significantly, so I'll say Mickey.
All right, Melissa, pick one.
Oof. I'll just say Morgan because I think people are kind of irritated.
I want to give it to you. They're almost tied, but Kelly is just below Morgan. But
I had
Kelly
it though.
and then Morgan.
Did I not? I said Kelly.
Nice.
I said Kelly or Morgan. Oh man.
All right, that leaves.
That's like my best one I've done like ever.
Perfect. No notes.
So after Jimmy, there's a set of 3. They each step down pretty evenly. Who do you think they are?
Wait, after
Jimmy in 5th place.
Oh, after Jimmy.
So it's between Zach, Vinny, and Lauren, I believe are the
rest? I don't even know.
Nikki and Keanu also are on the board.
Oh.
I think I think Zach. And
I would say Vinny. I would say Vinny. I think people like Vinny more than Zach.
I would say like Zach than Vince.
I would say Vinny.
I think people are mad at Mickey, so I feel like they're not. Even if they like her, they're probably not going to rate her super high.
I say Vinny, Zach, Mickey. No, because Mickey would be close to Morgan.
Yeah, so I feel like they're mad at her.
Yeah, Vinny, Zach, Lauren.
I think Zach, Vinny, Keanu.
Oh yeah,
it was Zach.
Dang it.
Then it's Lauren. Then it's Vince, Mickey, Keanu.
Okay. That's hard.
I really, Zach. Look at Zach by going up just by sitting there and looking cute. Look at him.
He's doing good work.
All right. I'm very. You did so well, Melissa, that I want to track how well you did and see if this can be the all-time leaderboard.
I think that's literally the all-time. I don't think I've done better.
You got all of the top 6. You got then also the bottom 2. So you got 8 exactly correct. Morgan and Kelly, genuinely, they are all but tied. I feel like I want to give you those 2, which would give you 10 correct.
Nice.
All right. So the final list is Ava, Rachel, Ashley, Will, Jimmy, Zach, Lauren, Vince, Mickey, Keanu, Morgan, Kelly, Catherine, Riley. All right. I asked the audience as well to rate the episodes this week. Last week, the episodes were a 4.9. And I can also tell you that in Big Brother 26 in week 4, the episodes were given a 6.0. In Big Brother 25, they were given a 6.2. And in Big Brother 24, they were given a 6.9. This season, a 6.6. So just under Big Brother 24. Right.
Yeah. This is a good week for the episodes.
Big Brother 24, I think, was still riding the high of the leftovers. So it was going to be tough to beat that. But it was a good episode last night. And so I think that helped bolster this to one of the higher week 4 episode ratings. I also asked the audience to rate the feeds this week. And the audience gave the feeds a 5.6 last week, a 6.2 this week.
Yeah. I feel like the feeds were better this week for sure.
Yeah, because we're all trying to figure out what's going on. It was I was, man, the post veto feeds today, I was like, oh my God. I was just glued to them.
It was very interesting to see. I also kept wanting to see Jimmy or Vince like pull some move to convince them not to put them up or whatever. Like I wanted them to like do something. And so I kept looking out for like, okay, wait, what's going on here? But yeah, I mean, overall, much more interesting than last week, at least. So for me, I would agree that it's a better week for feeds.
Now, I will say historically, the 6.2 does not stack up super well. In Big Brother 25, the feeds in week 4 were an 8.4. And in Big Brother 24, they were a 7.7. But this is more on par with last season, which were a 6.3 in week 4.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that the feeds were great, but I think they were better than last week. So, like, you know, I'll give it that.
Week 4 in BB26, was that Jags non-elimination?
26 would have been the Quinn HOH, right?
Did I say 26? I meant 25.
25 would have been oh geez.
Yeah,
right. It was pressure cooker.
I think it's Cameron's HOH actually.
Yeah, pressure cooker, Cameron's HOH.
I don't remember anything. If you ask me anything that happened like in the 2 previous seasons, I'd be like, I don't even know who won. So yeah, it's like I have to like go back and be like, okay, wait, what happened this season? Like I'm just like fully in the moment.
All right. Well, I asked the audience to rate the season as a whole so far. The season started at a 7.4. It dropped to a 7.1 in week 2, a 6.2 in week 3, and now a 5.3 for the season as a whole so far. Pretty bad. The season 26 at this point was a 7.0. Season 25 was an 8.0. And season 24 was a 6.9. So this is by a decent margin the lowest a season has been in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of agree.
Yeah. I do not know what we're going to see on these Wednesday and Thursday episodes, because how are you going to make a cohesive narrative of the mess that I've been watching over 72 hours of just from the veto? Like, I don't know, man. I agree. That's why it's just low, because none of this is logical.
It feels tough because it's like my dad asked me like, oh, are you enjoying this season so far? And I was like, I don't really know. I mean, I think it's kind of early, but now looking back, it's like we already had the leftovers. Like we had all, like, you can do a lot in the first like 4 weeks. And I feel like it's like, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't even know what has happened. I feel like nothing has happened yet. We're like waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, it feels like we're still waiting for the season to start.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so when he asked me that, I felt like, oh, like, I guess by this point I should be able to answer that, like whether it's a good season or not, but I just like, I didn't have an answer. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still waiting for the season to start.
But hey guys, it's too early. The leftovers were already 2 weeks into their reign where they dominated their season. And that's just, you know, it's too early for us to do it.
It's too early to make a move, guys. Too early.
Way too early.
Day
44.
Yeah, I asked to rate Mickey's HOH reign. So let's just explore some context here. Vince's HOH reign was given a 2.7. Jimmy's a 3.6. Lauren's a 2.5. If we go back, Quinn's in season 26 was given a 3.9. And then Cameron's was given a 2.8 in BB25. And then it was, we didn't do it in season 24. So historically, a pretty bad week for HOH's week 4. But despite all of that, Mickey's is in fact the worst.
Yeah.
At 2.0. She barely made it out of the ones, I'll tell you. I was refreshing earlier, and the final refresh brought her back up to a 2. It was like a 1.9 before.
Oh, man. When she first like used her power and they were talking about like, oh, first of all, like the fact that she got to use her power, because like I thought for sure they were going to say, yeah, Mickey, you're the one who did this. Like, no, you don't get it. Like, so I thought for sure that wasn't happening. But then when she actually got to use her power, and then when her and Morgan were talking about like, oh, we told people that, you know, you were going to have, or this was your last week to use it. So like, it makes sense, and that you're not like anti Riley or whatever. Like, I thought like, okay, so they've kind of got this planned out. Like they know why they're using it right now. Like they have a plan, like, let's see what happens. And then it was like, oh, they don't have a plan. And if anything, their plan that they think they have is like really terrible. So this is bad. I was so disappointed because I felt like when it first happened, I was like, okay, we got the two strategists in the house that really got this. It's like, oh, no, they do not. Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked the audience if Mickey made the correct replacement nominee. 96% of the audience said no.
Ooh.
4%
I mean, yeah, I agree.
said yes, which is the lowest percent I think I've ever seen in this question.
Jeez.
It's accounting for, I guess, mostly the jokesters. I also asked the audience,
people who are like, we don't like Jimmy or something, so we want him out or something, maybe. I
asked the audience, who do you want to be evicted this week? 78% said Riley.
Kelly? Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting he's still on the block.
He's on the block.
Well, that's because he's not an option.
Well, of course. We could never.
It's a blowout if he's on the block.
No.
13% said Kelly. 8% said Jimmy.
Terrible.
We can't have nice things.
So that's those are the questions there for the week. Should we get to the ratings?
Yes.
Well, of course, this is the portion of the podcast where we rate the players from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game. And of course, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. The criteria could be really anything you want. But in this case, we'll see how things go. And we will start this time with Ashley. You'll notice I did move Will to the back. You're welcome, those of you who hated his position in the front.
Who keep complaining or asking, wait, why?
So let's start with Ashley. Now, I want to just say something up front. This move that Mickey has made is very bad for a lot of people. It's very good for a couple of people. And Ashley is one of the people it is really bad for. Jimmy leaving is very, very bad. Ashley is going to have a lot of trouble avoiding the block next week with this move having been made. If Keanu wins, he's putting up Ashley, maybe even outright targeting Ashley. If Riley or Catherine win, they are perhaps outright targeting Ashley. If anybody wins that is going to target Keanu or Kelly, they are very likely going to use Ashley as a potential pawn to put on the block. Mickey has sort of inadvertently signaled that Ashley is expendable to her and no longer somebody she's trying to protect, because this move demolishes any protection that Ashley has. And just quite frankly, it's looking bad. It's looking real bad. Like Keanu today was talking about how happy he is that Jimmy might leave because it frees him up to target Ashley and Mickey and Morgan and maybe Rachel. And so this is very bad for Ashley's position. She got 5s last week. I don't think that she did anything overtly wrong here. She did push for the Vince nomination. She probably should have pushed harder given how close it eventually came, but she really wasn't being listened to by Mickey. She's very upset about this. But also, I have to give her a bit of a messy minus point here as well, because she may have kicked this whole thing off a little bit by telling Morgan that Jimmy called her overbearing for no particular reason the night before the replacement nominee needed to be decided. So, not great. I think that given where everyone else needs to be, I can give her kind of a generous 4 with her position right now, because outside of that, she hasn't done anything overtly wrong in comparison to where other people are. But her position, I really think, is in a dangerous place moving into next week.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like, the one thing I'll say is that I did, like, right before I came on, I know this happened earlier in the day, but I wasn't totally caught up. But like, I guess I had seen Ashley and Will talking to each other about how like they wanted to work together and how they had like a group that they were trying to plan with and like trying to keep Jimmy. And I don't know the full outcome of that conversation, but to me, that looked like a good, I mean, I like that group. I'll say that. And I like the idea that they're like, okay, no, actually, let's keep Jimmy. And here's the people we can work with. It was like Ava, Rachel, Will, Ashley.
Yeah.
And then someone else, or maybe not. I don't know.
It's
Anyway,
those
they
four.
wanted to, and then they wanted to keep Jimmy. So I was like, okay, that could be kind of a
Jimmy
good
stays,
group. That could be a good group moving forward. So I did like that Ashley and Will were having that conversation. So I do want to give her points for that. But I don't know what the outcome was because like we don't know. I only saw a snippet of it. But yeah. So for me, I agree. I'm going to give her a 4 because I do think she's in a worse spot than she was last week. But I do think that she can maybe make something of that group. We just don't know if she'll be able to do it yet.
Yeah, and I think the chat was a little confused because I listed all the negatives, but I forgot to sort of mention some of the positives. And I think, Melissa, you did a good job of pointing it out. Primarily, I am very pleased that Ashley seems to finally recognize that she can't really trust Zach. And she's very concerned about the Zach, Morgan, Lauren, Mickey grouping. I think that Zach was her biggest blind spot in the game, and she seems to know what she should be doing, which is better than most in the house. It's just that her position is really bad to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like it sucks. Like I would absolutely be so upset to be in a house where somebody makes a move that automatically just tanks my standing and I had nothing to do with it. But I want to give Ashley not an actual tin, but like her tins, as in her flowers, because that first part of the week when she was the one that was in Mickey's, like it's so weird, right? Because when Mickey was making that decision, it seemed like Mickey was consulting Ashley more than anybody. Like her and Ashley were doing the little dance. She was running the noms by Ashley. Mickey was saying her, Ashley, and Will was her priority. And in the minute that Keanu wins the veto, Morgan is in there like stuck to Mickey's side and it just all collapses. And Ashley and Will talk about it. They felt like they were being frozen out after the decision making. So I think Ashley was doing a good job for what she could do, but I also still wonder if Ashley, Rachel, Ava had went in there instead of pushing Vinny when it wasn't on the table, if they had collectively pushed Catherine, if we would have got a Catherine nom. You know what I'm saying? Like
to be fair, they got closer with Vinny than they ever did with Catherine.
They did. That's very true. But yeah, I agree. I say all that to agree. It's a 4 for me as well. I do feel bad for Ashley because she will be, once that block space clears up, she's destined to sit on it unless she gets some power. Either her or her people get some power. So I feel bad, but she's been doing a pretty good job. We thought she was out week 1, so she's here week 4. So she just has to keep trying.
All right. Well, the audience, maybe feeling a bit more generous than us, gave her a 5 this week. As we've been talking, I just need to get this out of my system. It's so stupid this season that every HOH has gotten out an ally. Vince took out Zay from his side. Then Jimmy took out Amy from his side. Then Lauren took out Adrian from her side. And now Mickey is about to take out Jimmy. It's genuinely just, if you had let Riley be HOH, he would have taken out one of his allies.
This is why you shouldn't have allies.
Don't win HOH anymore. I'm down with it now. Everyone throw.
Exactly. I mean, that is exactly why we say I was on here just last week. I said I don't want Ava to win because I don't want I don't want her to jeopardize her standing. Like that's been the flow of the house. Like this is ridiculous. It's insane that this is happening.
All right, now let's talk about Ava. Melissa, how are you feeling about Ava?
I mean, I feel pretty good about Ava mainly because she's kind of in the middle. And a lot of people say that they want to like bring her in or work with her or whatever. I still feel like I don't really know where she stands because I don't see a lot of conversations with her. Like I'm sure she has a bunch of like regular social conversations, but I don't really watch those. And so like I don't know how she'll do in an actual conversation. I saw like one conversation of her with Mickey, where she kind of like she didn't really say much of anything. It was kind of just saying that like, oh yeah, it's a big move or something, but like didn't give a full endorsement or not. And so like, I actually don't know. I honestly don't really know how I feel. I don't feel like she's an 8 though anymore. Not because like she's done stuff horribly wrong, but I just don't feel like she's super active. Like I feel like it's like
nobody is.
Everything's happening like around her. And while that can be good in regards to like, is she going to go on the block? Is she not? Like, I just don't feel like I know where she's going to fit in all this. And it's totally possible that she just kind of gets like the boot because like, well, she's not on anyone's side. So let's just like get her out. I think I'll probably just go down to a 7 because I don't think like, I don't know. I think a 7 now, but if you guys can convince me otherwise, I'm willing to move. But I think at this point a 7, just because I don't really know, honestly. But I think that's in this house, that's kind of a good thing. So I'm not saying, oh, I don't know, so that she gets a bad score. It's more like I don't know, and so like she gets a better score because of that. So yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think Ava is playing the best anybody but me in the house. Like she is quintessential Sandra Diaz Twine. And in a house full of everybody doing that strategy, she's doing it the best. The way that the season is moving, having an ally, you're getting your allies out. Having an enemy, the enemies are getting your other enemies out. Ava being so safely in the middle, she is starting to be a little bit more associated with the Wills and the Rachels of the world, but she still I believe Riley and Kat were like still cool with her. Not sure about Zach and Vinny, but Zach, but not Vinny. Maybe still have her back. I think it's just going to be one of those things where nobody's going to waste an HOH on Ava. Like that's where I'm getting. Like Ava is already penciled in to me for deep game and deep into the game. And so depending how the house dynamics shake up near the mid game to end game portion, I can definitely see her getting to the end and winning. Just because people might also underestimate her and think they can take her to the finals, and she might win like that. So I think Ava is one of the people whose game was not affected by this week. It didn't make her game better. It didn't make her game worse to me. I mean, Jimmy going isn't good for her, but again, it's not as catastrophic as it is for Ashley, Mickey, Rachel. So I'm gonna give her a 7 as well. I was very tempted to give her an 8 because if the premise is she had an 8 last week, do I think this week was negative enough for her to go down from that? I don't necessarily think it was, but honestly, nobody in this house should be touching 8s. So Ava might be my highest score, and I'm gonna give her a 7.
All right. Well, the audience does agree with the two of you. I, however, do not. I think this week is very bad for Ava. I think it's very, very bad for Ava. I think that the anybody but me strategy doesn't work in Big Brother because you need to be able to win competitions. You can be anybody but me as long as you are a comp beast. I haven't seen that from Ava yet. So that's concerning to me. Ava really, I think, benefited from Rachel's direction last week and didn't seem to have it this week. I was very impressed by her, swaying Zach and Vince to keep Will, but she didn't do anything with that. She didn't tell anybody that it happened, and she pushed for Jimmy to go on the block this week to Mickey when that's very bad for her game. It limits the power of all of her closest allies, all of the people that she should want to get to the end game with, and fully enables all of her worst enemies, the people that are big, strong comp beasts who don't value her at all and at best will drag her along and boot her eventually, and at worst will pawn her soon and she might leave in collateral damage. It's very bad. I think it's very bad. And I was not super impressed with the arguments she laid out to Mickey. Not all, like, on top of the fact that I didn't think she went in the right direction. I didn't think the arguments made sense. I think she has made sense in the past. But I did not see her making sense now. And so she's 2 for 3 right now with arguments. And I really think that if Jimmy leaves, that would be very devastating for her game. If Jimmy stays, she's got a little bit of a chance here, but overall, I'm giving her a 5.
All right, then I'll switch to a 7 or a 6.
Oh, come on, Melissa.
No, hey, you know what? I believe it. I believe it, but I'm not. Yeah, like I'm in between.
All right. So let's move on then to Jimmy. Mari, how are you feeling about Jimmy?
Sweet baby angel, Jimmy. Yeah, not at all. The one thing about Jimmy and what I feel worse for him is your closest allies, the people you were in a final 3 with, triple threat, they didn't give you the option to defend yourself. And it's not his fault. It wasn't his fault they didn't give him the option to defend himself. But I just felt like, how do you take the word of a former enemy and not give your ally a chance to defend himself? And we saw that if he had a chance to defend himself, he was making very salient points to Mickey, and that maybe he could have avoided this. To any future Big Brother players out there, if you feel that the air is shifting, because Jimmy kept saying, he said, I feel like it's not good. I feel like, and he was trying to put in some FaceTime, but he was just never outright with it. Just lie. I would have, if I was Jimmy, I'd have been like, girl, I heard you're putting me up. Is this true? So that you have to at least confront it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have lied. I would have been like, I heard, and I would have probably blamed my greatest enemy. I would have been like, I heard so-and-so say that you were putting
Keanu
me up.
told me.
Keanu told me. Exactly. That would have worked. Exactly. That way you have to have somebody confront you face to face, because that's the biggest thing. Taran says this all the time. It's if you don't even have the option to present your case, you can't make a change. So I do feel bad for him. I really wish he had been more active. This is kind of crazy because Jimmy was more active on Lauren's HOH, which makes sense. When you do not trust the person who is the HOH, you are more active as you are trying to keep your allies out of it. Unfortunately, I just think that he took a backseat too much to this week, and I really wish he had it. But again, and he is reaping what he's sowing. So this is not like this is out of nowhere. This is his payback from week 2, because that's where the distrust was sown. And unfortunately, Catherine, told Mickey about him telling her that they were coming for Riley. So I definitely have to give Jimmy a 3 here, because at the very least, he does have a chance with the blockbuster. I am really hoping he wins the blockbuster. But I wish he would have been really active this week. This cast really only has about 2-3 active players. Jimmy, Morgan, Rachel, and sadly Keanu. Like, those are the most active players to me. The people who try to push their agendas are really, really upfront. Everybody else is just way, way, way too passive. And I just really wish that Jimmy had turned his motor on this week, but I get why he didn't, because I don't think he ever fathomed that this would have happened, because in his brain, like he told Mickey, everything I did was for us. And sometimes you just have to make that clear to your allies, you know? That's just me.
Well, the audience agrees. They gave Jimmy a 3. And I think you make a good point, Mari, as well, about like not giving Jimmy a chance to make his case, to argue against this. Jimmy mentioned this to Mickey earlier today. And it pains me to say this, but he's right. Like, there's really never a reason to blindside somebody at a nomination.
Exactly.
It's fun TV. I
Mhm.
like it. But while it does make sense to blindside people at a vote, because telling them ahead of time in a vote could allow them to change things in a way that you wouldn't want. You only have one vote, so you ruining a blindside in a vote could, be detrimental to things. And also, like, I'm going to give them a heads up right before, that doesn't count either. That's the worst of both worlds, and I hate you for it. But when you are nominating someone, you are the only person that can change your mind. You are the only person that can stop what you're about to do. So there's zero downside to talking to somebody first, just to make sure you know what their response will be. There have been so many times that people have nominated somebody and then immediately after finally had the conversation and then go, oh, crap. And it's a great defense against being manipulated, because you're not just locked in a tunnel. And when the people who are telling you to do it are saying don't talk to them about it first, that is a telltale sign that you are being manipulated. So,
yeah. Yeah, and I just want to agree with you, Taran, because like the way that the reason why I think a lot of us had so much hope at the beginning of Mickey's HOH is because the way that Mickey told Riley he was going up on the block, the way that she told Keanu he was going up on the block, and the way that she implied to Kelly that she was going up on the block, I thought that's exactly what you're supposed to do. I think I skeeted it out. I was like, this is how you're supposed to go about your HOH. You talk to them. She said, Riley, you're going up. I need you to be Keanu. She said the one thing that we were like, why hasn't anybody said this to Riley all week? And then all of a sudden, all of that straightforwardness just went out the window after the veto. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Mickey had a very horrible HOH. But I'm gonna have to whoop up on Morgan for it too, as well, because I really think it was Morgan getting into her head that caused a lot of this. But yeah.
Yeah, and also, just to be clear, I'm talking about like betrayal blindsides. Like, if you feel like, oh, I've caught on to somebody, I need to do this. Obviously, if you're nominating a Keanu, that's your enemy, that's a house tar, whatever, you don't need to have a lengthy conversation with him. Probably.
Exactly.
You still,
but I also feel
should have a conversation with him.
Like, also, like, why not? Because you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like you can get stuff out of that. You can get information.
Exactly.
You can get them to promise things to you. You could, like, I mean, like, what? Worst case scenario is you change your mind. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like, okay, then you change your mind. Like, I just think that I think your initial point still stands, that like there's really no like harm in having that conversation. I think the one thing that the like main reason people avoid having that conversation is because they're afraid of like backlash, or they're afraid of the reaction. Like, she was probably afraid that Jimmy was going to be upset with her. And so it's like, I'm just going to do it. And then it's done. And then if he's upset, he's upset. But if like you're thinking about doing it, then like he can get upset and like try and argue with you so that you change your mind. And that conversation can be very tough, especially if you're like trying to be like, no, I want to do this. And someone keeps trying to like argue with you, then like obviously it's not a fun conversation, but you should still have it because they probably have some good points and maybe you're making the wrong choice.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, though. Speaking of Jimmy, while I agree with what he's saying, and I think that he is not, guilty of most of the things that Mickey thinks he is guilty of, it is still his fault that he's here. And I still don't love some of the ways he's trying to defend himself. In particular, when accused of playing all sides, he's not saying I wasn't playing all sides. I was just playing the game. Like I've always only been on your side. I'm not going to outright tell people I'm targeting them or that they should target me because that's silly. But I'm not actively playing all sides. Instead of saying something like that, he's saying, well, I was playing all sides, but I was doing it for our benefit, which is a very sketchy thing to say. And he's also saying things like, well, I was only talking to Keanu because I'm just a really empathetic person and I really hate it when I see people alone. And so I felt really bad. And so I wanted to talk to him. And I don't believe that for a second, Jimmy. It makes me feel like you're lying. And I know that you are lying, but you shouldn't be because you aren't actually guilty of anything. And so,
exactly.
There are just bits and pieces that I still didn't love. I wish he had been a little more active prior to this, as Mari said. But really what it comes down to is that just he has been a bad ally and he has consistently been a bad ally, been a bad like emotional support ally.
Yep.
And even like in a conversation with Rachel the night before when she was like, Vinny can say that he ran this HOH. He can say that he ran this HOH. Jimmy was like, I feel like I ran that HOH. And it's like, this is why, Jimmy. This is why you're in the position you're in. Because why are you saying that? And why did you make the moves that you did during your HOH? And why are you still justifying those moves? And why, when Mickey is asking you about like why you didn't consult them, are you saying, I did consult you. You wouldn't give me names. Yes, they did. That's what you're in trouble for. On top of all of that, he's in a very bad position. As of right now, he will go home if he doesn't win the blockbuster. And he is up against a very athletic Riley and a very I like puzzles Kelly. And so I do not like his chances, and I'm giving him a 2.
Yeah. It's tough. I'm between a 2 and a 3, honestly, because I feel like they didn't give him the chance to defend himself. And I think that this is a bad move generally. I don't think he should be going on the block for sure this week. However, I agree. I think like he didn't quite do what he needed to do during the week, first of all, but then also, in these after conversations to try and stay. This is so hard because I feel bad giving him a 2 because I don't feel like this is something that he did to himself this particular week. And like, yes, it has been coming based on his previous decisions. I'm gonna give him a 3 for now, but I do feel like I'm worried about him.
All right. Well, let's move on then to Catherine, and we can kick off with the audience here who gave Catherine a 3. A 3 for Catherine. I mean, listen, Catherine is one of the few people that has pretty dramatically benefited from the events of the week. The thing is, through
no fault of her own.
When your rating is a 3 and you go up 1, that's pretty dramatic. When your rating is a 6 and you go up to a 7, that's less dramatic. So it's dramatic because she was in a really bad spot and she's still in a really bad spot, but it's still a dramatic increase, right? She avoided the block. Can't say it was due to anything that she did because it wasn't. In fact, I think she actively worked against it in many ways. But what I will say is that she was the key to making sure that Riley didn't screw it up, because he really wanted to go in full force and she was like, chill, please. But despite all of that, she still, like, the reason she was such a person to be a contender for the block in the first place was because she never talks to anybody. And I will say, I will blame Riley for a good amount of that. And there is an amount of empathy that I have for her in the game that her time is sucked up by Riley so much. And he demands that time. And while obviously she just shouldn't give it to him, it's not always that easy because he will get mad at her. And that's a whole thing. There's a layer of difficulty there that other players don't have to deal with. But what I will say to that is, even before Riley started doing that, she still wasn't talking to anybody. And that's kind of the problem. And so while I do think that this is perhaps like kicked her into gear a little bit, I still don't have a lot of faith in her long-term in the game right now. There's nobody that respects her game. There's nobody that trusts her. Even Mickey says, I don't trust Catherine Riley. So, you know, where does she really go is a big question. She's still also a potential nominee for future HOHs. I mean, it's demonstrably a better position than she was in before, though. So I will go with a 4.
I'm going to stick with a 3 because I was not impressed with her this week, even though she's off the block. She came so close to being nominated, and she should have been nominated. But I also was not impressed with her conversations with Mickey. It was like she was supposed to be going up there and being like, look, I'm not coming after you. Look, I want to work with you. I'm fine. And all her conversations was just like, Mickey would be like, look, like, I just feel like I can't trust you because we haven't talked game at all. And Catherine's like, yeah, definitely. We haven't talked game. And it's like, yeah, because I just feel like I can't trust you because we don't talk game at all. Yeah, we just don't really talk game at all, for sure. And it's like, okay, now is the time to start talking game. Like right now is when you start that. Like, and that never happened. It's like, that's where like Mickey's giving you the end to be like, start talking. And Catherine did not take it. And she didn't say like, look, like, I want to work with you. I've always wanted to talk game with you, but I felt like I couldn't. Now I'm glad you're opening up this conversation because blah, 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 whatever, say whatever. It doesn't matter. But she didn't say anything. And it's like, you need to, if someone is telling you that the reason why they don't trust you is because they haven't had a conversation with you that's game related, it's like, start doing that. Start doing that now. Like they're telling you exactly what they need and you're not giving it to them. It's like, it made me very frustrated. So, yeah, for me, like, I don't feel like she really has it. So, yeah, that's a 3.
Oh, I am so on the fence here because I dislike her gameplay. I dislike her actions within the house, but her positioning is what is the strong suit here. And when I do these things, I normally weigh the positioning very high. I normally weigh the positioning, and then I also weigh the them as a player, which is why I gave Ava 7. Like I personally think Ava's positioning is really good. So for Catherine, her positioning is better because people who I thought would have instantly just thrown her up there are not doing it. Again, not because of her too much, but because of Riley. And her as a game player, I do not believe she can get herself out of anything. So I am torn between Melissa's 3 and Taran's 4. But I think I'm gonna give her a 3 because no matter what, the passive gameplay is so frustrating to me. Pass positioning, being so passive. Like even Ava rose out of her bed to make sure that Will did not get flipped on last week. You know what I'm saying? Catherine has not done anything to me that has affected this game. At most, she told Riley was simmer down, and that should have been common sense. So I'm just gonna give her a 3 because that's where she was. Well, she got a 4 last week. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna give her a 3. I just I don't. Why is she here?
All right. Well, let's move on then to Keanu. Keanu, now it's worth noting, historically, Keanu in week 1 got 2s from the panel and a 3 from the audience, giving him a 2 overall. In week 2, he got 2s from everyone, including the audience, for a 2 overall. In week 3, he got straight 2s from the panel with 3 from the audience, giving him a 2 overall. So he has never received a higher rating than a 2 from a panelist all season long. And that is about to change. Because Keanu has won his second veto competition. And he has managed to trick Mickey and Morgan into believing that he will not target them anymore. And that means that he has officially now done something successfully in the game. On top of that, there are now a few people who wouldn't target him going into next week. And he is weirdly one of the people making the fewest mistakes this week. Isn't that weird to say? Isn't that weird to say? It's true.
Nasty work. Nasty work. You're right.
And on top of that, he has demonstrated a level of athleticism and competition ability that genuinely does make me feel like he's a big threat to win HOH next week, to win a veto next week, to win a blockbuster next week. He has 3 chances to survive the week, even if he is targeted. And man, that's like, he's on the rise. He really is. Now, listen, it's still Keanu. It's still Keanu. He's still a target. A lot of people will be putting him on the block. But for Keanu and for this house, it was a good week. And so I'm giving him a 4.
Hey.
I mean,
I did a preamble like I was about to give him an 8, but like a 4 is basically an 8.
Yeah,
for him, it's 8. It's a 10.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a 3. I agree with what you're saying, although I did think it was kind of funny. Like, I don't remember the exact context, but it was like Morgan and Mickey were talking with him and they were like telling him that or not telling him, but like, I don't remember what point of the weekend it was, but they said something. There was conversation about how they were either going to or they were like looking at Vince or Jimmy. And it was like kind of like Vince or Jimmy. And then he was like, I think we should nominate Ashley. Or so he's like, what about Ashley? It just like came out of nowhere. And it was like, okay, like read the room. Like you're maybe getting one of these guys up instead of like someone that it was like, I don't know. It was funny because it just was like, he wasn't reading the situation. It was like, he should be pushing for like Vince or Jimmy. Like, even though it's like, I guess he thinks he's working with them or something. I don't know. But like, it's like, just push it. It's not you at this point. And at this point, like, that's a good thing for you because you literally don't have anybody. So, yeah, 3 for me. We'll see where he goes from here. But yeah.
Keanu's tripped and fell into like the right argument this week, and it's still better than anything he has done. I'll give him a 4. I'm not going to be suspenseful with that. I do have a question, Taran. So the thing floating around is that there's no have-nots this week, right? So are we likely getting in an endurance competition because of that?
I think the speculation is pretty good. Would it be the wall this early? That feels probably like a no. Still feels like there's too many people for a wall.
The backyard is still open too.
The backyard is still open, I believe, unless it closed down recently. And so, big build in the backyard, maybe not going to be the case. I mean, it is only Monday, but, it definitely could be an endurance competition. I don't think it's likely to be the wall, but it's around the time that I think you would expect one. They usually don't do have-nots on a week with an endurance competition. That is a pattern that people have noticed. So it's definitely possible. Hey, wouldn't it be cool? Ava's been saying she'd win a pressure cooker competition.
Pressure cooker would be so cool. But Julie announced the pressure cooker two summers ago, didn't she?
I think she announced it pretty far ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they normally will announce an endurance comp, but sometimes they won't do it until morning of.
Yeah. I was just asking. Yeah, I mean, Keanu did work this week. It finally took hold. It finally sprouted in the people that had power. You know, you have to give him his flowers for that. Like, I give him a 4. I mean, he's off the block. He's scaring people. When you win those comps, when you win 2 vetoes in a row, 3 because of Casey, but when you do things like that, you're scaring people. People are, again, not going to want to put him on the block initially. They're so if they have to not put Keanu on the block for the vetoes, that means they got to put more people on the block, which means they could make more mistakes in who they nominate, and he could maybe, he's not going to fade into the background, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one less thing he has to worry about. So 4s for Keanu.
Well, the audience agrees. They also gave Keanu a 4 this week, marking by far the highest score he's ever had. And the 4s are well into the neutral color now. The 4s now being the average rating for this cast as of right now. But let's move on then to Kelly. Melissa, how are you feeling about Kelly?
I mean, was this the first week Kelly did not volunteer herself for the block?
No, she volunteered.
She technically did, but it wasn't the reason she went up.
Mm-hmm.
God. Oh my God. Look, I feel like I saw her like cam talk a bit, and basically she's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like, I'm really bad at this. And I feel like that's very good, like, self-reflection. And I think that, like, the fact that she notices that, and the fact that it seems to me like she does not want to be on the block as a pawn, and she doesn't find that it's like a fun Tucker thing anymore. It's like, she's like, I don't want to be doing this, and they keep putting me here. Why do they keep putting me on the block? To me, I feel like that bumps her score up a little bit from a 1 for me. And I also feel like she doesn't seem to be like the target of people this week. I mean, at least she shouldn't be.
This is the first week in all 4 weeks of the show that she could survive a vote if she's sitting on the block.
I was about to ask that. I was about to ask that too.
Yeah.
Would she survive a vote versus Jimmy?
I still don't feel like she has like any, like, I don't know where she goes from here. People still view her as like a pawn star. And I think that she, doesn't really have any allies. No one really wants to work with her. So I think for me, I'm going to give her a 2. Just because I do think this is like a better week for her, but she still could go home. So yeah, not so great.
I mean, okay, Kelly wins the blockbuster. She goes up on the block again next week. Like, there's no inroads for her. The people that she could get an inroads with, let's say a Vince or Zach, they don't need her. They're swimming in allies. She's very expendable. The one person that really had her back went home last week. She could survive. She can survive a vote versus Jimmy. But if it's her versus Riley, she's gone. Which we've been saying, I feel like we've been saying for weeks and weeks now. Yeah, she's not having fun being on the block anymore, even though she still said, like, oh, well, if I'm gonna go up, don't put Riley up. Girl, you have no say in this. What? I don't know. I'm going to give her a 1 just because if she does, hit me with her. Love it. Just wanted to hear Cerise's sweet voice.
We'll be hearing it later.
She literally just, like, she has no recourse anywhere. Like, I haven't seen her do any work. I actually I was actually thinking to myself, I don't even remember seeing her on the feeds. I don't know if it's because I turn whenever she's on the feed, but I don't even see her like rallying and anything. I do feel bad for her. She does seem like a little dejected, but there's nothing. It almost feel like there's nothing she can do at this point. Which sucks. I do feel bad for when that happens to players, but she hasn't been trying to change that positioning, or I haven't seen her try to change the positioning. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
All right. Well, the audience feeling a bit more generous. They gave Kelly a 3 this week.
Okay.
And I will say, I do feel like this is a much better Kelly than last week's Kelly. I can't give her a 1. She didn't volunteer properly. She really did not want to be on the block. And on top of that, she has awoken to Vince, which is more than you can say for somebody like Morgan.
That is true.
And if you look at this as well, like both Keanu and Kelly had 2 of their best weeks in the game. A common factor here, they both started not trusting Vince as much. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a great point.
But she's still on the block, and she still may end up leaving. But genuinely, her social game has improved this week. She's talking to people on a more human level. She's interacting with more people than just Vince, and they're starting to have more conversations. People like people are talking more and more about like, I never really had a problem with Kelly personally. And as I mentioned, for the first time all season, she can survive a vote against another player on the block. Now she always could against Keanu, but Keanu was never an option. And in this case, it is now not do or die for her in the blockbuster. As long as Jimmy doesn't win, she will be fine. That said, it's still Kelly. And unlike Keanu, she doesn't have, despite the blockbuster wins, she doesn't have the cachet of the veto wins that Keanu does. She is not, this is tough to say, as well respected as Keanu is. Not to say that Keanu is well respected. Maybe putting well in there was a bad choice. She is not as respected as Keanu is. But overall, it has to be a 2, given just her likelihood of potentially leaving. We can quickly go over the votes here. Jimmy versus Kelly on the block. Ashley, Will, Ava, and Rachel all do seemingly want to keep Jimmy over Rachel. And in fact, when talking to Mickey, over Kelly specifically, over Riley, they do not want to try. Although it's like, well, why not? But they think that they would certainly want to vote that way over Kelly. That's 4 votes. They need 6. And that's the problem. It would be very difficult to pull, Catherine is going to be difficult to pull. Catherine kind of likes Kelly, doesn't like Jimmy. They're not going to pull Keanu. Keanu likes Kelly, doesn't like Jimmy. They're not pulling Lauren, Vince, Lauren, Vince, Zach, or Riley. And that just kind of ends it. So basically, in order for that vote to succeed, they need Mickey, Morgan, and Mickey Morgan to then convince Zach and Vince, which they probably could, because Zach and Vince wouldn't push anything for their life. And so the big thing here is if Jimmy wants to stay, he needs to flip Mickey back. As of right now, that seems like a lost cause. I don't think it completely is, but it seems like quite a tall task. And so right now, I think it's basically a dead vote here. I think that Kelly will stay over Jimmy. If the vote was to take place right now, a lot would have to change.
So Jimmy alienated his allies for Kat, and you're saying you don't think Kat will give him his vote?
No, she was done with him by the end of his HOH week. Like, it was so bad of Jimmy to do that. And now, again, Mickey's doing the exact same thing. All right. So let's move on then to Lauren. Mari, what are your thoughts on Lauren?
I mean, what is she? She's reaping what she's sowing from last week, as in something good. Like Mickey didn't put her.
I did a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
you think?
I mean,
yeah.
Like, again, Lauren talking to Mickey in HOH, her general just chilling in the house didn't. How are these? I'm gonna give her a 4 just because she avoided the block. Mickey kept her word from last week. Mickey told her last week if she didn't put up Ashley, she wouldn't put Lauren up. And nobody bounces checks in this house, apparently. Lauren wasn't even an option. But Lauren's just chilling. Like, no. Like, I'm like, I hate having to give out high-ish, because 4 is high in this cast, high-ish votes for people doing nothing. Like, she's doing absolutely nothing. But she is in a much, much better position than, say, a Catherine. I even would say a Keanu, because like we said, Vince and Zach, I do think they have her back. I think Vince really has Lauren's back. She's so well insulated on that side with Vince and Zach, with Riley and Catherine. For some reason, she's just slipping through the cracks. Like, again, no fault of her own. 4.
Well, the audience agrees with you. They gave Lauren a 4 as well. And I'm on the same page. I think that Lauren right now is in a position where, first of all, she's lucky it was Mickey that had this HOH, because Morgan, Ashley, Rachel, Will, Ava, none of them would have cared about what she did for them last week. Mickey was the only, they all suggested Lauren. Mickey was the only one that was like, after she didn't put up Ashley last week, I feel like I can't put up Lauren. And that's really because she was just more dead set on the Jimmy thing anyway. So I don't think it justifies the move last week by any means. On top of that, like, her best case scenario right now is that she, goes along to the end, and like people like Vince and Zach get sniped out of the game for her, and then she goes on some kind of comp run. Like, nobody respects her game. Everyone thinks that Vinny controlled her HOH. And I genuinely don't think she can win right now. She's that kind of player at the moment, and that kind of player never really gets above a 4 for me.
Yeah, I agree. 4 for me as well. Let's move on to Mickey.
All right, let's move on to Mickey. Well, we'll start with what might be the highest rating of us all. We'll see. The audience gave Mickey a 3 this week. It is, I believe, 3 is the lowest rating that the audience gave out this week, which is honestly pretty wild. But I think part of that is there's a lot more votes. The more votes, the more likely they are to gravitate toward the middle. But 3 for Mickey from the audience. I have talked a lot about Mickey this week, so it should come as no surprise that she's getting a 1 from me. I'm going to say this, and I'm fully willing to eat these words later. I don't think that it is like guaranteed, but and I say this as somebody who was a fan of Mickey, not really much of a fan of Jimmy, but I really do think that Mickey has lost the game with this move. I don't see the path for her right now that doesn't require a lot of things falling in the right place for her. And that's a wild thing to say in week 4. I know that. So much can change, and that's why I'm very willing to say, like, it's not a definitive thing. But as I'm looking at the game and the board and the players, it it's so hard to crawl out of this hole, I think, that she has built for herself. And to have made a move like that from the position that she was in it is so devastatingly bad. She has not only, as the chat has mentioned, she has not only ruined her own game, she has devastated the games of pretty much any ally that she had, any valuable ally that she had. And because that's part of it, right? It's not just that she put herself in a bad position, it's that she put all of the important allies that she has in a bad position as well, which means that even if she manages to crawl out of this, she very likely will crawl out of it with no support left, alone in a house of Zach's and Riley's and Keanu's and Vince's and Morgan's and Lauren's. And where does she fit there? Just nowhere. She just doesn't. And maybe she integrates and maybe she becomes a much better player. And I'm honestly rooting for that. But boy, was this such a bad move. It's such a bad move. And I have to give her a 1.
Yeah. I mean, like how, like, I'm sorry, do we really see Riley and Catherine being like long-term allies of Mickey's? I don't. I mean, maybe they will be, but like, it just seems like she's throwing away her game because of this. And it's like, that would have been an easy move this week. Is just like, okay, I just like usurped your HOH. You're mad at me. It like, let's get him out. Let's put his ally Kat on the block and I don't know, Keanu or Kelly or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Just like throw up some other people. But like, getting Riley out would have been such like a no-brainer, I think, from my perspective, because it's like, you've already pissed him off. I mean, do you think he's going to forget that you took his HOH down the line? Like, I just think like he can, maybe Riley is like that forgiving or whatever, or like maybe they really truly did connect. But for me, it's like, if someone takes my HOH, like as much as I'm going to be like, yes, of course, like I totally get it. I want to work with you. Like you took my HOH, you put me on the block. Like I don't trust you at all. So like, I don't know, as much as he's saying he trusts her, like, I don't feel like he trusts her and I don't feel like they're going to work together long-term. So I think this is a terrible move. I think this is absolutely horrific. And not only that, she's putting an ally on the block who blindsiding him. And like Taran said, tanking everybody's game in the process. It's just so bad. So yeah, it's unfortunately a 1 for me.
Yeah, I think at most, because I watched the chat between her and Riley after she talked to Jimmy, and I get it. I get why she's convinced, because I think he did a very good job of convincing her that, it's fine, we're gonna play this game together. And I think he could at least promise her that she's not going on the block. But again, like Taran said, doesn't matter, because all of her allies are going on the block. It went from Mickey, Morgan, Ashley to Ashley, Morgan, Rachel, Ashley,
Exactly.
Rachel, Will. Like it, good for you, Mickey. You're not on the block. And just maybe you might end up being a renom anyway. So I get like her being snowed by Riley. I do. I see it. I see it. It's just, unfortunately, he is playing to her right now. I know the chat was talking about a lot of like Mickey was talking about her faith-based decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like Big Brother, since Big Brother's inception, we've seen religion brought into this game on multiple levels. For me, when you're in a high stress environment like this, it is often, it's not uncommon that people will turn to their faith and their religion when they're in a stressful time, when they're trying to make these decisions and stuff like that. So we can criticize like how bad her decisions are without having to like criticize her faith in general. You know what I'm saying? And again, she's not the first or the last person who's done this. We've seen this over the years, over and over and over and over again. And it's
if it wasn't her faith, it would be another reason. It's not like
exactly. So it is a horrible move. It is a bad move. It's a bad move that tanks her game, takes everybody that she cares about game. And I have to give it up to Riley for really, really salvaging this, because I don't understand how, like, I want to see Wednesday's episode. Like, we all know, I need to see Wednesday's episode to see how, like, how heated it gets between the two of them. And I again want to remind people that it is a different beast when you are confronted by somebody who doesn't like you. For me, I would have taken that HOH. I would have been like, thank you. You're a great person, but I do have to target you. Like, what happened to it reminded me of Quinn and Tucker last season. Hey, buddy, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. We're coming for each other. Cool. Like, we're still cool. You're still a good person, but I'm coming for you. Like, I think that's where Mickey should have happened. But I think she talked about being so afraid of being seen as like a bad person for taking Riley's HOH. And I really think she let that get to her. She then got, correctly misted by Keanu, believing everything he said. But more importantly, I think she really, really took to heart what Morgan was talking about. Morgan is clearly playing for Vince and Zach. This move helps Morgan get closer to that type of structure. She's listening to the wrong people. She is making the wrong decisions, and there's no escaping it. You know, I got to give her a 1. Like, I'm so sad that I thought she was one of the most capable players in this house, and I think she is. She's just capably doing the bad move. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? She's capably doing the bad move. So yeah, I don't see her coming back from this. I agree with Taran. It would be a whole bunch of lucky streaks of like Ashley winning an HOH, Rachel winning an HOH. Like, she would have to be lucky that her group wins HOHs and whittles down, makes the correct decisions in order for her to get out of this hole. So just like she put them in a hole, she would have to hope that they would get her out of it. And it's hard when a lot of the people that are coming after you are the most athletic people in the house. So it's a shame. It really is a shame. I was hoping. I was like, please don't put up Jimmy. I don't want to have to go on the round table and talk bad about my good sis. But girl, you really did it. It's a horrible move, Nikki. Horrible.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's then move on to Morgan, who, listen, Morgan pushing Jimmy is not as bad as Mickey doing Jimmy.
Exactly.
But honestly, it's kind of close.
Very close. Yes. Yes.
Because Morgan, in some ways, is in even more danger to retaliation by players that she is protecting, like Catherine and Riley through this. And also, like, where Mickey does seem to at least recognize the threat that is Vince and Zach, even though she's making a move that doesn't help that case. Morgan, in my opinion, made it clear to both Mickey and everyone, if it wasn't already clear, in her desperation to protect Vince when she thought he might go up on the block, that she is destined to lose this game. That there is no way she will ever turn on Vince. And kudos to Vince. We'll get to him. But she is not valued by Vince and Zach. It was just last week that they were like, I guess we'll drag along Morgan, but we definitely care more about Lauren. And Morgan is so bought into this. She has had so much of the Kool-Aid that she's telling Mickey, I think I'm going to work on Lauren as an outside person. And it's like, yeah, because that's what they want you to do so that you protect Lauren for them and feel more comfortable. And it's hook, line, and sinker. it is not good for Morgan's game for Jimmy to leave. Again, he was one of the few assets that she actually had along with Mickey. And she has basically forever lost the likes of Rachel, Ashley, Will, Ava. At least I say forever. In the short term, long term is there's never very a forever. But it was just bad, and I think she knew it too. She kept actually trying to move back to Catherine, and Mickey wouldn't let her. But I'm giving her a 2. I think this is a very, very bad week for Morgan. Even if you want to work with Vince and Zach, you needed Catherine on the block, not Jimmy. And Morgan was an essential part of making this happen. I think that her aligning more fully with Vince and Zach will be the key to unlocking their games and having that side, and specifically them, succeed, but at the expense of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. It's a 2 for me. I am as you said, there's a bad move. She thinks that she's like in a better spot than she is. She thinks that she has people that she doesn't. And not only that, like every conversation I watch of her, she just talks the entire time. Like she's always the one talking.
No, nobody ever lets me talk about myself, Melissa. Nobody ever wants to listen to me talk about myself, like personal stuff.
It's so much. Like, it's like, doesn't let anyone else get a word in edgewise. Like, I wouldn't want to be strategizing with someone like that. And then like someone on Blue Sky like said she like has conversations as if she's streaming on Twitch, where it's like she just has to constantly talk because there's nobody else there. But like really people who are right there who like she should be going back and forth with in a conversation, but maybe she's just so used to Twitch or something. I don't know. But
that's hilarious.
And Vince is just like chat. That's why he works so well with her.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
But like it's not good. And it also puts her way too in front, just way too out there, like just a huge target, because it's like, well, she was doing all the talking. Like that, she said this, she said that you can like list off all these things that she said. And then also when her and Mickey were having their conversation, and when Mickey was kind of like, well, I think maybe we should do it this way, and then Morgan was like, no, we're doing it this way. It was like very forceful. Like, I guess that's good to like get, if you really want to get something done, but at the same time, like it definitely doesn't make your ally feel good about your partnership. I don't know. I just feel like that would turn me off if I was in a conversation like that. So I feel like I don't really have much faith in her moving forward. And especially because this move the two of them are making is just such a bad move. So yeah, it's a 2.
To be clear to the chat that is offended by being called Vince, there are different calibers of chats, and you, of course, this chat, are not a Vince.
Yeah,
you disagree with us way too much.
Yeah, honestly, you're like the opposite. It's just constant disagreement.
And this chat does pass the vibe check too, even if they do disagree with us. So this really makes me think, right? If Morgan and Mickey are sitting on the block together, let's say as soon as next week, who goes home, right? Because my inclination would be like, oh, Mickey might go home. But the little, like the stragglers, like your Rileys and your Catherines, would they appreciate this move from Mickey and vote Morgan out? You know, even if we have a Vince and Zach pushing for Mickey going, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but how much are they really pushing?
Exactly. Like, I was just thinking that. Like, I really was. I'm like, I still think Morgan goes home next to Mickey, even with this disaster of an HOH for Mickey. Either way, again, Morgan. No, I'm giving Morgan a 1 because I don't care. It was a shared delusion between Mickey and Morgan. And I agree Morgan should have pushed Kat more, but the shared delusion of listening to Keanu, festering in this bubble of Jimmy did this to us, Jimmy did that to us, like Morgan just spiraling at the mention of Vinny when Mickey was seriously considering putting him up. No, that if Mickey's boat is sinking, Morgan is right there too. Like she's gone. Like she does have Vince and Zach up to a point. Up to a point. Now, will that come back to her as quickly? I don't know. Like we really don't know what next week will bring. Like what I have learned on this season is we have no idea what next week will bring. Even when we think we know, we don't know. That's a tagline for a show somewhere. So like I have to give Morgan a 1 because I truly think that it was a shared delusion. She should have been the main person in Mickey's ear saying this is not okay, but she was also feeding into it. So if Ashley's game goes down, if Rachel's game goes down, Ava's, Will's go down because of Morgan's but because of Mickey's move, I think Morgan's game goes down even more so dramatically as well. So that's why I'm gonna give her a 1.
All right. Well, the rare 111 from Mari this week. We'll see if it becomes a quadruple. Morgan did get I've already spoiled it. That no rating went below a 3. She did get a 3 from the audience. Which brings us to Rachel. Melissa, how are you feeling about Rachel?
Ugh, I don't know. I don't know because okay. Like the whole conversation with Mickey where she was like calling herself Ava and saying that she was
luckily
like,
that was Ava, right?
Right, that was Ava. That was not Rachel. But yeah, it's like she was like trying to quit and that made me upset. And then
I can't believe you guys gave Ava 7s when she was trying to quit.
She was trying to quit. No. Quitters. And then she backtracked and was like, oh, like I actually like don't think that's a good idea or whatever. But like the damage is done. Luckily, Mickey didn't go for it, but like any other person could have been like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. All right. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, let me put you on the block. And I just feel like that's so unfortunate. And I feel like I don't really know where her place is in the game right now. Like, I like that she isn't necessarily being targeted right now, but it does seem like people are trying to like target her early jury. Like, it doesn't seem like anybody is trying to keep her around long term. Does she have any allies really? Like, I don't know. So it's just, it's not good. I mean, I don't want to give her like too low, but I feel like it's like, I just don't see where she goes from here. Number 1. And then number 2, the Jimmy thing is not good for her. And number 3, the quitting thing is just really bumming me out. So, yeah, I feel like I want to give her like a 4 or a 5. Like maybe I'll do a 4 for now and then like see what you guys do and kind of maybe make up my mind.
So yes, everybody hates quitters. We hate quitters. But again, Big Brother, it's so hard. You know what I'm saying? Like Vanessa Russo had a moment where she wanted to go home. You know, what was that, week 1, week 2? Like it happens sometimes with players. Like, you know,
but I would have given her a 1 for that week. So like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I still would have given her a bad score for that week. So even though she ended up doing well,
like when for me,
she wasn't that bad.
So like for me, when Will last week was like having his moment and throwing his tantrum and saying he wanted to go home, like, and everybody turned on him. I was like, can you imagine being put on the block over and over and over and over again and thinking, then what is the point? Let me go home. Let me be with my family. Like we have to like we don't have to, but I will give people grace for like having a moment of weakness. If you don't go through with it or if you don't really like, you know, push it, and you just have a moment, I'll let you have a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind people
But I
having
think there's a difference between having a moment like in the DR or like to a cam talk or to an ally versus the HOH telling them to put you up. Like, to me, I feel like there's a difference. Like, I absolutely agree with you saying that, like, like, just let me go home then if you're not going to let me win. Like, I understand that for sure. And I totally think I think that's a totally different category than going to the HOH and saying, like, look, I think that, like, I don't want to stick around if I'm just going to be kicked out in jury. So, like, let me just go home now. Like, I think that's like a little too far. That to me is like, it is a quit move. It's not just saying you're having a moment.
So for like Amy, when Amy went home, Amy was like, I'm done. Like, get me out of here. She knew she was going to lose her job within 2 weeks, like that is, to me, is different. But again, we're semantics. This is my score. We have something different. So like I said, I'll give her grace. I'll give Rachel grace for having that moment. Again, this is so bad for her, like on so many levels. Jimmy being gone frees up, if he goes, frees up a space for her to sit on the block. I think she's still pretty good because she does have Ashley in front of her. Like, I think Ashley will take that bullet before she does. If it's her, Ashley will on the block or something like that. So Rachel still has some runway. But Rachel does have to find a path to the end. I think she is capable of doing so. She's a capable player, but it's narrowing. It's narrowing if Jimmy leaves, with the loss of Jimmy, her path is really, really narrowing. But again, it's not through a fault of her own. You know what I'm saying? It's not her own doing. So her position has dramatically decreased. She loses an ally. She is very easily up on the block next week. But she is a capable player who can fight. You know, I don't love that she's telling Riley and Kat that she wants to fight for their showmance. But again, that could be helping her here. So I'm just give her a 5, just because I'll give her the bonus Rachel Riley point because I love her. But it's not good. It's just not good. And I feel bad because, again, I don't necessarily think it's her fault, her position right now.
All right. Well, the audience gave her a 6. Cool. Rachel Riley.
Love that.
Now, I do want to say one thing, which is, and I've seen a little bit of this in the chat, and I've seen this elsewhere as well. Here it is. Not the same energy for Rachel because she's the fave. If this was anyone else, you'd be digging in on this person. As if I and many of us here on the podcast weren't saying last week, what Will is doing is frustrating, but understandable, right? As though, for instance, I didn't rip into Tyler in BB All-Stars 2 when he did whatever it was he was doing, despite being somebody that was theoretically a favorite. Because, listen, different circumstances are different. What Will did to me was more frustrating because he was not playing the game. He was just sitting back and doing nothing. What Rachel did is frustrating to me, but in the same conversation she did it, she was pushing super hard for Vince to go, and she has continued to push super hard and play super hard, which is a distinct difference from the likes of, say, Kenny, who basically would sit there and do nothing, occasionally chime in and be like, sure, I'll be a bro, and then go back to being like, actually, I'm volunteering and I want to go home again. If she keeps doing this, I'll have a different energy. It's like people are just so quick to be like, oh, it's I think there's a double standard happening. And you see it when it doesn't exist. And so, listen, I don't think this is good. But I don't think it's the worst thing that she did this week. I don't think it's the worst thing for her this week. I do think the parts in which this this like desire for her to potentially leave did potentially cost her, in the sense that maybe it did decrease the amount of work she was putting in. She still was putting in more work than anybody else this week, at least on the side of getting Vince on the block. But I do think she failed to get people like Ava on board. She just didn't get Ava on the same page, and that's a huge mistake. She made this pitch to Mickey and didn't really properly follow it up. Now, what I will say though is that, because I haven't mentioned this today, they really wanted Jimmy on the block, and by they I mean production. Because while I do not think they manipulate in the diary room, but I do think what they do is, so we're going to have a really early veto ceremony today.
Oh, yeah.
Because we want to make sure that Mickey doesn't change your mind.
Right. Yep. Because last week the veto ceremony was like at night or something like that, I believe.
It was way later. It was way later in the day. Same thing happened to Quinn as well on his week
like
that he got
for
back towards.
future players. It's like, note when the meeting is happening and see if like you're making the right decision or whatever, you know.
They were all still waking up. Like that's like a real early veto ceremony. Now, again, all of this said, like if you're looking for me to go on a 10-minute rant about how Rachel wants to quit the game in the same week that I'm ranting about the god-awful moves that Mickey and Morgan and basically everyone else are making, you're just not going to get it. In the same way that you didn't really get it when Will did it, because it's just not there yet. If it gets there, I promise I'll do it. Okay. That said, again, this is bad. It's very bad for Rachel. It's very, very bad for Rachel. I think her chances of winning the game have decreased dramatically. Talk has gone back to this idea. I was just mentioning that people were just starting to talk about like, oh, Rachel could win in the end. It's gone back to she can't win in the end. And so I think that her stock in the game is plummeting. I agree with Melissa's 4. I think that like Ashley, she at least has her head on straight. She knows what she's doing, probably more than anyone in the house. But she's in a very bad position. And what I will say on top of that is that Vince is starting to rev the engines a little more. He was talking to Keanu today and going, Mickey, Morgan, what about Rachel? And you know, he's warming up, this guy. And if he starts to get warm, he's gonna be dangerous. And that's bad for Rachel. So it's a 4. It gives her a 5 overall. I think that's too high. I think that for me, she barely escaped a 3. But let's move on to Riley. Mari, how are you feeling about Riley?
Why do I get all of these people? Can we get a redo?
Listen, blame the people who wanted to move Will, I guess.
The way the Stockwatch goes.
Oh my God. Riley is still on the block. I have to remind myself that he is still on the block. But he is safe, the safest on the block. He is in that Will spot, I guess, of being safe no matter if he wins that blockbuster or not, unfortunately, because he has the house misted. His super uber charisma is saving him in that game. He effectively got his HOH taken from him, but he also blew up on the person who took his HOH from him, and yet he was able to crawl back and promise her safety, make her feel good. Not only to the point of like telling him that he is not her target, but to keep his no-mance showmance off of the block, guaranteeing that at least like one of them doesn't go home. He has Rachel on his side. Apparently, she's telling him to his face that she's going to protect him. Nobody in the house wants to get rid of him. Everybody wants to use him as a tool. to get rid of somebody else. So he's essentially now playing the game. He said it to her. He said, "You've woken me up. Let's play the game. Thank you." So, you know, uh I am going to give Riley, I'm gonna give him, he's still on the block, but he's still safe. Ugh. I'll give him a 4. I'll give him a 4. He did good work this week.
A 4 from Mari. The audience couldn't do it. They gave him a 3.
I wanted to.
And I do agree with the audience on this one. Not even just for vibes this time. He's on the block. And even though he is lock safe, it's Monday. And he theoretically could have as many as at least 4 locked-in votes against him in certain scenarios. That's not amazing. All it would take is for somebody to realize, wait a minute, we don't need to worry about pissing off Riley if we vote him
Riley's
out.
gone. Yeah.
Do I think this house will do that? No. But he's still on the block, and he's still a person now that people feel comfortable putting on the block. And so that's not amazing for him. And he just doesn't really have much game sense. All that said, he is somebody that could break the 5 barrier in future weeks. If things actually start moving in a certain direction for him, and he's not put on the block in the coming weeks, I could see his score moving up if people continue to talk about him in the way that they do, and he's not put on the block and he continues to win competitions. Like, yeah, he's actually going to become a contender. Right now, he's not. He just entered the game for the first time, and he did so on the block. So it's, I think, a justified 3 from me.
I'm gonna go with Mari actually and give him a 4 because I feel like people are so like into him, and I feel like him just like crying to Mickey, like he knows when to use that tool. He knows when to use like his emotions and like the sweetness and all that sort of stuff to get what he wants. And he did that with Mickey, and it worked. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. And you know, I was very surprised by that. And not only that, like, when he was going back and talking to Kat, like, as horrible as it was to listen to those conversations, when he would tell her, like, you need to say this, or you need to start talking game with Mickey, or you need to do this, that, and the other thing, he was giving her, like, good advice. Obviously, there's also bad advice where he's all like, don't use the veto on me, or don't, like, you know, whatever, all this stuff, like, leave me on the block, I'll sacrifice myself. All that stuff is terrible, yes. But, and he is on the block. But I feel like the people don't want him to go. They like feel like they trust him. They feel like they like him. And I feel like that maybe that's not his own doing, but like they do. And so to me, I feel like I have to give him credit for that. This could go down next week. It could be horrible. But at this point, like, I mean, this should have been a very simple move for Mickey to get Riley out this week because he was the HOH. She thought she was targeting her. So she flipped it, made herself the HOH. He's going to be pissed. You put him on the block to get him out. Well, yes. Yeah. Then his whole conversation about the veto where he was like, no, the person who wins the veto, like they're not safe or whatever. It's like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about.
Even on top of that, I just think that Nathan makes a good point in the chat, which is he was planning to not use the veto on himself if he won it.
True.
But I think he would have even stayed. Like, it's so stupid. I don't know. It's so stupid. Maybe it works. Whatever. I get it. He's not a 4 player, but for this week alone, just because he was able to make this very easy move, apparently not so easy for Mickey, who supposedly was a 7 player last week. Like it's pretty shocking. So for me, I'm just going to give him a 4 as like a, here you go. But next week could be terrible.
Yeah. My thing is nothing about the way he played gives me hope for how he might play in the future. Like this week. He just sort of like benefited from people assuming things about him, and they were able to assume things about him because they don't know the guy yet. because he's barely talked to anyone other than Catherine so far. If he ever actually has to play the game, I do think he will shoot himself in the foot, and I do not think that he will be good at this game. But that is just my prediction. Let's move on to Vince. This is a bit of a longer podcast so far, but we do need to talk about Vince, who did receive a 5 from the audience, which, quite frankly, I think is criminally low compared to a 7 for Ava and a 6 for Rachel. I think that Vince is far and away above the two of them in the house right now. It's been a fascinating experience with Vince for me because we started the season with him in charge, wasting a lot of opportunity, making a massive mistake, and then never really proving that he could do much better than that. Last week, he got a 2 from me because he, again, wasted a massive opportunity and really put himself in a bad position. And that bad position took him to a hair away from being evicted this week. There was a moment of about 30 minutes last night where Vince is a pre-juror. And then that moment passed. And now I think he is the most likely winner of the game. And that's because, despite the fact that he was the first person we saw, the first person to frustrate me, we have now gone through the entire list of players on this cast. And they have all somehow managed to be even worse. And so I have circled back around to the top of the list and found Vince sitting there, smiling at me with his mustache, saying, I knew you'd agree with me, Taran. And so here we are. I think that he still is in some trouble. Some bad HOH results would not be good for him. Rachel, Ashley, Will, Ava could all put him on the block and potentially send him home, potentially expose him. He is still not like a phenomenal player. But in this house, he could be comparatively right now. And on top of that, I do think that he is one of the few players in this game capable of improving as well. I think there's a world where the second half of the season is boring because it's a stomp to the end for Vince. I think there's also a world where Vince is evicted next week. That's where I am with Vince. And so this was a phenomenal week for him. I can't credit him directly for any of it. But it was a phenomenal week for him. And if he does improve his game, if he does start being more active, if he does continue to have weeks like this and continue to have a lot of the comp beasts on his side, I really think he is in a prime position to really do well in the game. He is going to get a 7 from me this week.
Yeah, I want to give him a 7 as well. I was very impressed by him this week. First of all, like when they told him that they were thinking of nominating Jimmy, like the fact that he was like so on board and so like, I'll take the fall for it. I'll do whatever it takes. Like I'm absolutely on board for this decision. Like I feel like that helped convince them that like, okay, wait, yeah, this is a good move. Because anything less than that, and they would have been like, okay, I don't think this guy's on board with our plan. Like, I don't think he's on board with us. Why don't we just put him up? Because they were considering putting him up, which is also why I'm kind of like a 7. I don't know, but I just ultimately have to go with it. He did have like a pretty good cam talk one of the nights, which I watched, where I actually feel like he kind of knows what's going on. Like, I mean, not like he kind of knows what's going on, but like he's doing things with intentionality. Like some of the conversations that he has with people, or the way that he talks with people, or the way that he like strokes certain people's ego and says certain things with certain people, or, you know, just agrees with other people. Like it seems like he actually like really does that intentionally. And like maybe like the self-awareness, like the awareness of the people around him, like he's not all just, I agree to agree. Like I think he's doing that as strategy. Like I think all this stuff that he does is part of a strategy, intentional. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it felt like when I was watching the cam talk. Maybe it'll turn out next week. We're like, oh yeah, nope, he wasn't doing any of this intentionally, but that's what it felt like to me. And I do agree with Taran. I think he's in a really good spot. I mean, I think everyone could end up aligning and falling into place for him as we move forward. And yeah, I feel like this was a good week for him. As close as he came to being on the block, I still think it was a good week for him.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. I saw somebody in chat said Vince is Vanessa. Stop it, y'all.
No.
Just because you are the master of a circus of chumps does not mean you are good at this game. Vince is way too passive and wishy-washy to be. He did not do this. Mickey and Morgan's very dumb ideas did this. Yes, he is benefiting the most from it, but he himself almost talked himself onto the block. Like, I can't do it. He's getting a 6. I'll give him that. But we are not going to pretend that he is a mastermind. I can't do this. We are not doing this, y'all. He is not a puppet master. He is not a string. He is moving no strings. He has the strings in his hands and he's just like, here. He is not telling his people what to do. He's, oh, you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that. He is not it. Okay. His positioning is great. I do agree with Taran. He is virtually on a march to an end. The one thing he does have is several people playing for him. Again, not intentionally though. And so I'll give him his props, but we can't do this, y'all. We cannot do this. We cannot sit here and start to compare him to some of the people who have literally ran this game, who not only have social positioning, social capital, and know how to use it and point it in the direction, know when to I can't. I get it. He's showing promise. He's showing a lot of promise. Him being a super fan is really helping him in a house full of people who use Chat GPT to answer how to play Big Brother. Yes, his just basic general knowledge is helping him get through this game. But he is not Vince Kirby. He is not Vince Giesling. He is not Vince Reyes. Let's stop. Let's slow our rolls here. Now, if he does get better, if his end game, if he doesn't if he doesn't have like a Tyler trajectory, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the Chelsea trajectory is probably the most possible comparison, right?
Exactly. But even that, Chelsea, even though she was lower, she always had that.
He has already made significantly more mistakes than she ever did in the first half of her game.
Exactly. So I just want everybody to just pump their brakes for a second. And yes, I am a certified hater. I don't care. Let's pump our brakes. Let's pump our brakes. Okay. But I do think he's very capable. Like I said, he is one of a few very capable people in this house. It just so happened that this week, all of the active players have been actively doing a bad job, while all the passive players have passively had good things happen to them. So yeah.
Fun little inverse here for the Ava and Vince ratings.
I don't care.
5677765.
Don't care. I don't care. I love Ava. She is passively playing a good game. Vince is
all right. Well, let's then talk about Will. And I honestly don't have a lot to say about Will. And really, I do kind of like him as a guy. I love it. I love his talks with Ashley. Apparently there was just a bit of a tiff between Ashley and Mickey, and Ashley's going off on Mickey. And Will's like,
watch that,
kind of in there. But here's the thing. He never started playing the game again after he stopped in week 2. Anytime his opinion was asked by Mickey, he had none. He'll happily trash talk Mickey for the decision with Ashley. He will happily do whatever, but he's not here to play and he's not here to win. I got to give him a 3.
Yeah, I agree with that. 3 for me as well.
Yeah, 3. I love the guy. He's very funny on the feeds, but he's way too passive, and I think he's kind of given up a little bit.
And he is on the very losing side of this week, on top of all of it.
Mhm.
The audience, though, really, we are not in touch with the audience this week. The audience gave him a 5.
Whoa.
All right, and that finally brings us to Zach. Melissa, what are your thoughts on Zach?
I mean, I think Zach is doing really well. I mean, first of all, even in this whole renom conversation or whatever, there was no talk of Zach going up. It was, oh, do we put up Vince or do we put up Jimmy? But I feel like Zach's doing really well, and he's kind of playing like a rat floater kind of game. He's like ratting people out, not really working with certain people, and saying he's working with someone and then not. And he's just like really good at talking with people. People like having conversations with him. They feel like comfortable talking to him. And I feel like that's so key. I just think that, if people feel good about you and feel good about like talking to you, they're going to want to keep you around. So I do feel good about him. And I think that also he's got this power. And, I think this Jimmy move is like not bad for him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm tempted to like go a little crazy and give him an 8. Because honestly, like I'm very impressed, and I don't really see him being targeted anytime soon. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give him an 8. I'm just gonna go wild.
Okay. Zach did a good job staying out of the way. Again, I think if we're targeting a Vince and Zach, like how if you target a duo, if you target a Vince and a Zach, Vince is going over Zach. Zach, he's mad weird to me because I don't understand how every 2 seconds you're saying you hate Ashley's guts, and yet you're holding her hand and making kissy faces, and y'all are like dying laughing together.
I do need to say, I think that Zach has gotten much flirtier with Ashley. Just to put that out there, that has definitely been happening.
That's exactly right. Like it. I liked how I can't remember who said it, but like Zach being a virgin and the whole like was it Maggie who said like the whole hating the girl that you actually like that's what him and Ashley are giving. Definitely a enemies to lovers type trope. But he feels like he should be going after Lauren because she's so cutesy and demure and young. But then also having a connection with Morgan. It's very Tucker from last season, right? It's like early on, everybody was in love with Tucker. Everybody, all the girls plus Chemo.
At least Tucker liked the girl that liked him back,
That's exactly what I was about to say. And then once Tucker made his decision, everybody else turned on him. Zach can really like play all of these women till the end, to be quite honest. Again, I hate that I have to give passive players higher numbers. But he didn't mess anything up. I think him and Vince are still contemplating not winning I apologize. Are contemplating not winning HOH. I gave Vinny a 6. I'm gonna give him a 7. I do like Zach. I do. I like him. I like his role in helping Mickey get the power from Riley. Like Zach was okay with helping Mickey get the power from Riley, and it's still on and Riley's good graces. He is playing a really good floater game. I love seeing a good floater game. But again, just not active enough for my liking. personally. So I'll just give him a 7.
All right. Well, the audience gave him a 6. And I actually agree with the audience on this one. I have Zach lower than Vince. I gave him a 6. Now, the reason is I think Zach is in a better position than Vince short term, but I think that Vince is in a much better position than Zach long term. All of Zach's closest allies are more loyal to Vince. Lauren, Morgan, even Riley, Keanu, basically anybody that Zach is trying to work with, they are all more loyal to Vince. Now, the good thing for Zach is that anybody that he is not loyal to would target Vince over him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's short term. And if those people all start falling, person by person, Zach's long-term game starts to look a bit worse, I think. His performance in the balance beam competition did not give me confidence. They were even talking about it in the house that he looked very bad on it. And so I definitely think that he is one of the bigger threats to win the game, but Vince is a problem for him. And his best case scenario, like it is for many people, is that Vince kind of gets sniped out of the game and he gets to take all of those allies. And I think a key example of what I'm talking about is how they handled the fallout from not doing the tie vote, where Vince basically was able to almost completely get away with it with or just completely get away with it with Riley and Catherine, whereas they were like super mad at Zach. And he half was able to get away with it with Keanu. Didn't really get away with it with Kelly, but Zach got away with it with nobody. And that's a problem, right? So yeah, those are my feelings on Zach and Vince. But overall, it looks like Zach will have the highest rating of the week. And that is the Stockwatch. 4 has officially become the neutral rating this season so far. So there we are on the Stockwatch.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Not great.
All right, so you can, of course, head over to realitystockwatch.com if you want to play along at home. This is probably going to be a bit of a treat. Honestly, probably the season with the most amount of profit potential, but also the most amount of losing your house. So you can go over and play over there. The ratings are not going to be updated immediately, so please be patient. And also please be patient if the leaderboard is not exactly right at all times. You know, it is what it is. But people have fun over there. All right, it's been a long one, so we will wrap up now. But of course, you can find all kinds of Big Brother content here at RHAP. The live feed update tomorrow morning, and the slop for the patrons. And then, of course, Wednesday, there'll be an episode. I'll be streaming on Twitch and YouTube during the episode, and there will be a recap for it afterward on here. You can also check out my book, Behind the Mirror. People are starting to get some copies. Tiffany just posted on Instagram about how she got Tiffany in the book as well. So very fun stuff there. So check all of that out. You can pre-order the book at taranarmstrong.com. Mari, what do you got going on?
Of course, I have Crime Scene. You can go to crimescenepod.com and check out me and Sarah Carradine reviewing true crime documentaries, docuseries. We've been having a lot of fun over there, so go check us out. And of course, you can find me on Blue Sky talking nothing but Big Brother over there. I had to tell a couple people to mute the hashtag today. So at Mari Talks Too Much, too, like the number 2.
All right, and of course, you can find Melissa at It's Melissa with 3 A's. 3 of them. And that is what we have for you tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.